Greetings, I'm Wallace Allen. This is Empire Talks Back. Today's guest, Bambi Tran from Grid Alternatives. That's a solar power company that sets up solar power for you, low-income people, and they also deal with job training and a lot of other great things that have to do with solar power. We'll be back with Ms. Tran in just a moment.
Get it.
Get it.
Get it.
Give your town a reason to celebrate, because every Goodwill item you bring home brings job training and more to your community. Goodwill, bring good home.
I'm back, Wallace Allen, Empire Talks Back, and I'd like to introduce you to Bambi Tran. Bambi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Wonderful,
Nice meeting you.
wonderful. I haven't met a movie star recently. It's great to talk to you. How's things going in Bambi land?
And you know, things are going great. The sun is shining.
This is
and
great.
that's what we're talking about today.
Tell me about Grid Alternatives. What does Grid Alternatives really do?
Okay, so Grid Alternatives, at Grid, we believe in the power of the sun to transform lives. So we're a nonprofit organization that's community-based here in the Inland Empire. And what we do is we provide solar power at no cost to low-income families who qualify for our program.
At no cost?
At no cost. And you know, it's hard to
There
believe.
was a word you used, you said low income that qualifies. How low income do I have to be?
Sure.
I'm sure I qualify.
So an example is for a family of four, we're talking about 80% of area median income. So for a family of four, the maximum income we're talking about is $53,900. So it's based on the income for the household. We're also looking at household whose home is solar ready. So we go out and make a site visit to make sure that the roof is in fairly good condition, because we're going to be installing solar panels on top of the homes and don't want the homeowners to essentially have to pull the panels off, re-roof, and then put the panels back on.
So how long have you guys been doing this? Tell me about your history and why you got involved with this.
So Grid Alternatives as an organization, we're an international organization based in Oakland, and we've been around since 2001. We came and opened up our office here in the Inland Empire in 2011, and we've been serving the families here ever since. So far, we've been able to serve about 1,500 families here in the Inland Empire with no-cost solar. And what's really unique about our program is that not only are we providing no-cost solar for our families, we're providing job training in solar at the same time.
So what is that about, the job training? Who qualifies for that? How do we do that?
Well, it's also no-cost job training, and it's really for those who are interested
and I should get my solar before I get the job training while I still qualify, right?
Well, you can get the job training while you get the solar. So how we do our work is we use the rooftop as a classroom space where we bring students, job trainees from the community, or even residents who want to learn and do this on their own home. And they get to work with us hands-on, putting in a solar system on another deserving family's home.
So how extensive is the job training? How many people have you worked with there?
Sure, we've served almost 2,800 job trainees so far, and students and community residents. We have a number of volunteers who come out wanting to give it back, or students who need community service. And then we also have trainees who vary from recent high school students or recent college graduates not knowing what they want to do for a career. So we provide them this hands-on experience, because even if you may not be interested in a career in solar installation, employers are looking for experience. And they're also, they really give value to those who know how to do the thing, right? So if you want to go into sales and marketing for solar, it helps to actually know how to install it. You can speak better to that if you actually know the nuts and bolts behind that. Same thing if you want to go into solar design or engineering or finance. If you actually know how to do solar installation, it provides a great value for the employer. So that's what they're looking for, and we provide that experience at no cost.
Well, I hear on the radio and on TV all of these informative and aggressive statements about how we can put solar on your house. You're a nonprofit organization.
Yeah.
I don't hear any of these other powerful commercial-based solar messages talking to me about job training or things like that. What's the difference in your company and nonprofit company?
Sure. The distinguishing factor there is that we are a nonprofit organization. So our focus is to provide a public benefit to the community. And we're looking at providing solar to those who can least afford it. You know, we're looking at solar technology and say, hey, this provides great savings for families, but the families who can benefit the most from the savings is really the low-income families, right? And we need to bring access to that technologies for our families here. Studies say that low-income families pay 3 to 4 more times more on their income for utilities than an average family. Now imagine if they can save $50 a month, $100 a month, $500 a month on the
Well, here in the
utility
Inland
bills.
Empire, you can look at some pretty big bills, especially with the heat doing what it's doing now.
Yeah, exactly. In the summer, you know, a common
In the winter.
in the summer, it's still 100
Right,
degrees,
right.
right? And you know, many of our clients are seniors on a fixed income, and with utility bills ever increasing, they're struggling to make ends meet. And we do not want them to be facing hard choices like medicine for themselves, or to pay their bills, or face, you know, going into foreclosure. So we're providing those savings and giving families an opportunity to gain more economic and financial stability for their homes, as well as providing the opportunity for the job training.
Who pays for all of this benevolence? The profit people, the ones on TV, you know, they're probably spending more on commercials than you might be putting a system on a house.
Sure.
Where does this money come from? How do you deliver that to my low-income situation?
That's a great question. So we have a number of grants and contracts that we're working with, some of them coming from the state, some of them coming from philanthropy. So organizations, foundations, corporations who are really supportive of this mission, and seeing that it's really important as we grow the solar economy to make it more inclusive. So in order to make it more inclusive, we have to support the voices of those who, in our communities, in all of our communities, to be part of this growing economy.
Tell me a story about someone who just really, really needed your services.
Sure. There's a family in San Bernardino. Her name, the homeowner's name is Pat, and she was really struggling to make ends meet. You know, active in her church community, but really didn't feel like she could ask for help. And you know, for 5 years, she and her daughter didn't want to turn on their air conditioning, and didn't want to turn on their heating because they couldn't afford it.
They wanted to, but they didn't dare.
They didn't dare because they wanted to be responsible and be able to pay their bills, and so they couldn't. And you, like you said, you know, in the summers and winters here, it gets really hot and very uncomfortable. So Pat was able to connect to another nonprofit that we have a partner with, and she was able to do some remodeling on our home, including getting a new roof. And then so we were connected to her and said, wow, this is a perfect candidate for our program. And we came out, Pat happens to also be a veteran. So we had an event where we brought together some of our veteran job trainees together to actually work on her home. So while they are gaining the tangible experience in solar, they're actually helping her get a solar system at no cost to herself. And so now she's able to support her daughter going to college. And so her daughter is in nursing, studying to be a nurse. And she, continues to be able to give back to the community and live more comfortably.
Bambi, let's talk a little bit about the actual qualifications and how people can really get involved in this. Pat did pretty good. Let's see what's the real qualifications here and how people can take advantage of this great situation you've got.
Yes, and we want more people to be able to take advantage of this. You know, there are the state's investing in this, our corporate and foundations are investing in this, there's individual donors investing in this solar movement, and we want more people to be able to take advantage of the program. So qualifications for families is first, they have to be a homeowner. We're working with homeowners who own their home and it's their primary residence.
Okay.
Second is that their household income is no more than 80% of area median income. And so that's based on the household size. And then third is that they need to live in an area where we actually have funding for. So the state is focused right now on providing funding for those who lived in what is considered disadvantaged communities. And those communities is identified in a map that the state issues, and it covers actually many parts of the Inland Empire, pretty much all San Bernardino, Rialto, parts of Redlands, Riverside, et cetera, et cetera.
What about those people who live in Highland like I do?
Yes, it covers parts of Highland as well.
Okay.
Yes, and so
I'm back in it.
yes, you're
Okay.
back in it.
Okay.
So that's really qualifying the homeowner, and so
Now, how do we find the right people? How do you reach out and find the people and convince them that they're not really going to end up with a $25,000, $30,000 bill somewhere?
yeah, and that's our greatest challenge is people think it's too good to be true. And so most of our work is done through partnerships and referrals, word of mouth. And so we partner a lot with our local cities here. We have a partnership with the city of Rialto. We have a partnership with the city of Marina Valley, with the city of Paris, with the city of Redlands. Essentially,
What does that partnership with the city actually turn out to be? What is that like?
So it's essentially, it allows us to do joint kind of co-branding of the program with the city. And we get letters of introductions from, say, the mayor of the city introducing our program to the community.
Okay.
And we can send that letter out so that it shows credibility and backing from the city. And we go through a formal resolution of support process with the council. So the council actually has voted to support and to endorse our program.
How does that help you with the permitting and the that group of people that has the, what do we call that, the gatekeepers, the bureaucracy?
Sure.
How do you work with it?
It's in many of our city, it has actually allowed us to.
You business guys, get your pen and paper out and write this down, because I hear you guys complaining all the time about how hard it is to do business in the cities. So we've got a little secret for you. Write it down.
Well,
Okay,
the key
then.
is to work with the city. And so through some of the
Be nice. Okay, that's that's what you're saying. Be nice.
That's
and,
right. Be
okay,
nice
that's
and
the first thing.
collaborate. And that really is the key to our success, because not only are we collaborating with the city, and some cities have allowed us to have expedited permitting. Some cities have waived the permitting fee because they know that for each system that we install, we are bringing anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 worth of a solar system and labor into their city, and that job training opportunity for the local residents. So the investment from the city is really not much. And so we're bringing all these resources in, and in the Inland Empire so far, we've invested almost over $50 million in equipment costs and labor costs for our community here in the IE.
Bambi, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. We're going to talk more about how you can get involved. We're going to tell people a little bit more too about this job training thing. I think that's very important during this time. I'm Wallace Allen, Bambi Tran. We'll be right back.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
I'm Wallace Allen. This is Empire Talks Back. My guest today, Bambi Tran, representing Grid Alternatives. You were telling us about how people qualify for this program, and let's cover that a little bit more, about how they qualify, how they can
Sure.
get involved. Guys, get your pen and paper. There may be a phone number or something involved.
And our website.
But we'll put the phone number right up here so you can just tell us more about this, how Wallace can get in on this great deal that you
Sure.
provide.
Well, we want you to call in or check out our website. So the first part is we qualify the homeowner. Again, they have to be homeowner-occupied homes, income qualified at 80% of area median income, and the home falls within an area where we have funding. The second part is we qualify the home itself, because we want to make sure that the home the roof is in fairly good condition, that there's minimal shading, because the enemy to solar is shade,
Okay.
right? So we want to make sure that there's minimal shading. Or if there's trees, we can go and make a site visit and provide recommendations for parts of the trees to trim and things like that. And then lastly, the main service panel it can handle the backfeeding from the solar system. So those three things we look at when we send out our construction team to really analyze the home and take measurements so that we can size the system.
Do the panels actually have to be on the roof?
Great question. So
Good.
So we mostly do rooftop solar because it's mostly cost effective for us, and that allows us to serve more families. But it doesn't necessarily always have to be on the roof. We have served some families where it's a ground mount system. There are requirements within each city to have setbacks and things like that, and sometimes with that setback there's not enough room to put the solar system on the yard. So the first place we do look at is on the roof, if it's in good condition, etc. Alternatively, we explore a ground mount system if we do have enough funding to actually cover the cost of the ground mount system.
I am low income, so maybe my roof needs a little work. Do you guys help with that?
We don't help specifically with that, but we do have some partners that have program. In fact, many of the cities now have their rehab programs active again. So, folks can either go in and get loans that are low interest or grants for rehabbing. There's also various nonprofit organizations in our area that do offer that as well. And then, so we make some recommendations there and provide some resources.
So actually by calling you and getting that assessment of the condition of my roof and any of the other things that are important, you're able to tell us if something is wrong, where we can go, where the resources are to help get that straightened out.
Exactly.
Well, that's a good deal.
Yeah. And even if someone doesn't qualify for our program, they might call in. Can I provide the number?
Yes, please.
Okay, 951-465-2864.
Now, we call in. You guys don't come knock on our doors or do any of that stuff.
Well, you call in, and sometimes, in communities, another way we do is that we sometimes canvass around areas where we're installing.
Okay.
So let's say that we're installing Highland. We might be walking down the street and informing the neighbors about our program, talking about our job training program as well as our solar program.
Very good. And now with the word of mouth, that means as you are actually working with someone, you give them an incentive of sorts to go find other people?
Yeah.
I think I read somewhere that you guys help out with incentives in that direction. Tell us about that.
Yes. So we have a referral program where homeowners who we've served can earn $200 if they can refer another family that would qualify for our program. So once that family goes through, qualifies, and are under contract with us, then we send essentially $200 to that family.
You send them actually cash, or do you give them some kind of credit, or
we give
restaurant coupons? What do they actually get?
We send them a check.
You send them a check?
We send them a check, yes. And I mean, again, we're focused on providing significant savings for our families, and every cent, every dollar makes a difference for our families.
Now, give me a story about somebody's house that was, and you were able to perform the miracle of sorts. Can you do that?
A miracle of sorts.
Of sorts. Not a whole miracle.
Sure. So there's a family in Redlands, and they actually had roofing issues. So, and they were, cash strapped and couldn't afford to figure out how to rehab that roof. They got connected actually to one of the banking institutions in our area who happens to be one of our partners and have donated and sponsored some of our work. And so they were able to get a rehab of that roof and connect also with another nonprofit to do even more rehabilitation in their home with windows, caulking, like increased energy efficiency and things like that, and then which further drives down the bill.
Yes.
And then we came in with the solar. So not only did they essentially get a new roof, they got new caulking, appliances, some rehab, some painting work, some just really sprucing up of their home, and a new solar system to bring down the cost of the utility bills.
Very good. There was a question that just ran across my mind there, but it has to do with the professional guys and what they are willing to do and what they say they can do and what you're doing there. You seem to be much more concerned about the actual welfare of the house. Now, one of the things I hear the professional guys brag about is they argue with each other. One says, well, your guy's got to put the solar up on your roof, but he knows nothing about roofing. I'm the roofing expert. what's the, how much do you need to know about roofing? And tell me about your experience in that regard.
Sure. So when you talk about the professional guys, we are professionals, right? The only difference between a for-profit...
I meant the profit guys.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
right.
The profit
Thank you for
guys.
that.
So we are professionals. We are solo professionals. We are highly qualified, and we provide high-quality work. Not only do we have to pass a city inspection, but we have different levels of quality control throughout our process because we have funders who are asking and demanding for that quality, right? So we are accountable to many other folks than, say, a for-profit company who's maybe just accountable to that homeowner.
You're right, because that bank, that insurance company, that donor, they have their reputation on the line, because I'm sure somewhere along the line you do expose who your partners are. And so they probably do give you a stronger compliance requirement than the for-profit people.
Exactly.
Can you give us an example of that?
In terms of who's sponsored us? Or
If you want, yes, if you want to let us know who some of your partners are.
Sure.
I think that would be good.
Yeah.
Especially that bank. Let me get his name.
So some of our partners currently, so we have a large partnership with the state through their community services department. Corporate partners that we have locally include Wells Fargo, U.S. Bank, Union Bank, Southern California Edison. So those are just some of the organizations that are part of this movement to bring solar technologies to under-resourced communities.
And as partners, they are more to make donations to you, or be directly in touch at all with your clients in any cases, or is that in the case of Redlands, as you spoke, that just happened to be a coincidence? Or?
That just happens to be a coincidence. Most of the partners are interested in kind of the impact we're making, so we report on the impact and we share the stories that we have with them. And in some cases also the partners are interested in coming out and giving back. So they actually bring together their own staff members and their own employees and have kind of a staff building day where they go out, they're volunteering for the community, they're actually putting solar on top of the home,
Really?
They're talking with the homeowners and learning about their stories and interacting with our job trainees as well. So they really
How much training do you give those volunteers when they come out to work on a Saturday?
Sure.
What's involved in that? And can other people who are not part of your sponsor and partner group, can they volunteer?
Yeah, most definitely. So we have an open enrollment volunteer program. And really the key thing is safety first. So we have a volunteer orientation that happens at least once a month, if not 2 times a month, in person in our Riverside office or also online, where they learn more about grid alternatives, our program, how it works, and also the safety considerations, right? We want to make sure that people are prepared and know what to wear. So they need to make sure that they have closed-toed shoes, that they're wearing kind of jeans and t-shirts and things like that to be safe on site. And once we provide that safety orientation, really we work with anyone with any background that is 16 years and over. So if you know how to use tools, great, we'll say here's a screwdriver, go with that. If you don't know how to use a screwdriver, we'll start with lefty loosey, righty tighty, and we'll go with that. And we've even had licensed contractors come to us and say, we know solar is growing, but we don't know how to do solar ourselves. Can you teach us so that we can expand our own small business?
And you don't charge for that?
We don't charge for that.
Man, I should talk to you guys about that. I think we could get some money from these guys. But no, I think,
no, and because we want to grow,
anyone who wants to give back, who recently retired, either forced or unforced, and they are looking for something to do that would be helpful to themselves and the community, you actually open the doors.
Yeah, we welcome that. And we are doing projects throughout the Inland Empire in both San Bernardino and Riverside County. So the first thing is check out our website, which is gridie.org, and there's one button that says Get Training, and go to that and they can sign up to volunteer. If it's a homeowner interested in our program, they can go to gridie.org again and they can click on Get Solar, and they can go through our program there.
What type of orientation do you have for children?
Great question. So we have a program called Solar Futures, and the purpose of Solar Futures is to focus on our youth, particularly our disconnected youth, 16 and above, who are trying to figure out what they want to do for the rest of their lives.
And kids, they all know what to do.
They don't know what to do. But so we're trying to inspire the next generation of solar professionals. And we go into the high school and we partner with the high school itself to provide some in-classroom curriculum. So we give kind of foundational knowledge about renewable energy and clean energy and why it's important. We also really dive in and maybe build on their math skills and their science skill and do some training on design. And then we jump and talk to them about other career opportunities like in marketing and finance and in engineering, etc. And then we wrap up with kind of different career opportunities and career preparedness in solar. And then we take them out on site with us, and they actually work on a solar installation.
And these are high school students?
These are high school students.
Okay.
And so, 16, 17, they can work on the ground with us. So they do a lot of the racking stuff that gets passed up on the roof. They do some of the electrical part of the work that happens on the ground. And then those who are 18 and above, they put on a harness, they have their hard hat on, they get on the roof with us, and they start installing standoffs, racking, panels, making the connections, things like that. And for some folks, they're like, wow, this is the first time that we have touch tools.
Yes.
We've only been studying it in the classroom and things like that. And not only are they gaining their technical skills, but they're also gaining soft skills. How to communicate with each other, how to work together as a team. And we talk to solar employers, and they say, not only are we looking for someone who has, say, some technical skills, but the key for a really great candidate is, are they able to show up on time? Are they able to communicate? Are they able to work together as a team? And so they get to practice that on site with us in a live environment and giving back to the community at the same time.
Might I use my experience and offer you a suggestion?
Sure.
I've found from observing my grandchildren that they tend to be really kind of bosses in the family, Once they decide that turning off the lights is an important thing and keeping the energy down. I know that young kids cannot go on the job site, but I was wondering if you thought at all about getting into the grade school level where they can start exercising some of this judgment about energy and energy use, because I'm finding that facts tend to get a little loose the older we get. And instilling some actual facts into the minds of our young people at a very young age may be very helpful to exactly what we're trying to do.
That's right, and they can pester their parents, right?
Yes,
Say, turn off that light, turn off that light,
that's
turn
the
off
deal.
that light.
And the young ones can pester their parents and get away with it.
Yes, that's
Very
true,
good.
that's true.
I'm feeling unpestered. I'm feeling informed. And I suppose I can go talk to my grandson and tell him how this thing might work, and he can pester me a little bit. But I hope that others like me have been informed enough to make that phone call.
I hope so too.
It's a money-saving thing. You're not. My arm was behind my back when I talked to the professional guys, and it just took me a while to. But it makes sense to have solar. It makes sense to be able to reduce our use of oil, fossil fuels.
Most definitely.
And you seem to have a great solution.
Yeah, and the sun is free. That's free energy. And we need to bring that more to our
And
local
you're making
communities.
the delivery of the product basically free.
Exactly.
Bambi Tran, should I call you Thumper?
Maybe.
No, I won't. Okay. Bambi, it's a pleasure talking to you, and I really appreciate that you've been in here sharing your information.
Thank you.
I look forward to you coming back and continuing to let us know how well you're doing and what we might be able to do to help and support that.
Great.
Empire Talks back, Wallace Allen. Bambi Tran is giving you guys a money-saving solution. Don't blow it. Give her a call, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you.